télévision djiboutienne de l'histoire. Voici donc un article paru dans le journal The Chicago Tribune en 1986 à son sujet que nous avons opté de le reproduire dans son intégralité.
He began by chance, in a routine military training exercise. Ahmed Saleh, a new enlistee in the army of the East African country of Djibouti, was asked to run 8 kilometers with the rest of his company. Saleh, who had never run a race before, finished first. 6 years later, Saleh has become one of the world's foremost marathoners, one who will run Sunday in America's Marathon Chicago, with an eye on both first place and a record-breaking performance. That much is certain. How he got to this point remains something of a mystery. This is, after all, a man who knows he is 30 years old but doesn't he know the exact date of his birth? Who knows what propelled him to be the fastest soldier that day? Was it running across the mountains and deserts as a child? Was it fear? Even if one could speak his native Somali, even if one could better understand his heavily accented French, it might still be impossible to comprehend Saleh's motivation. Most likely, he was running away from the poverty that has been a historical curse to Saleh's countrymen. Their tiny country, almost devoid of natural resources, won its independence from France in 1977, but remains totally dependent on foreign aid. Its economic problems are further exacerbated by the influx of political refugees from Ethiopia. Saleh's father, who had 3 wives and 20 children, was a nomadic shepherd until he settled his family in Ali Sabi, a town of 3,060 miles from the capital, also called Djibouti. There were no jobs in Ali Sabi, where Ahmed was born, so he left home at age 14 to work as a waiter in the capital. It was there that Saleh eventually joined the army and ran the cross-country race that changed his life. The army recommended him to the Djibouti Sports Federation, which was looking for athletes who might bring notice to their country. It was only then that Saleh began training, formal or informal, with the help of French coaches sent to their old colony. His marathon debut in the 1983 World Track and Field Championships at Helsinki, Finland, was painfully unencouraging. Saleh broke a leg when he fell, after barely 3 miles. Less than 2 years later, in April 1985, Saleh helped put a nation the size of New Hampshire on the map when he won the World Cup Marathon in Japan. His time of 2 hours 8 minutes 9 seconds was then the second fastest performance ever. 2 other Djiboutian runners finished in the top 7, throwing the world of distance running into delighted consternation over these strangers from a strange land. The confusion didn't clear up overnight. Saleh was called Salah by Track and Field News magazine, which literally calls itself the Bible of the sport. The Runner magazine, in an extensive article on Djibouti, mistakenly called him Saleh Ahmed. At home, the recognition was immediate. The runners were given the nation's highest honor, the Great Star of Djibouti, and likened to ambassadors at large. CBS TV is providing tapes of its Chicago telecast to be shown later in Djibouti.
The greatest marathon runner is Bannister's 4-minute mile. He made the marathon look easy. Now, there is another African runner of similar potential. Ahmed Saleh of Djibouti was and also ran in the Los Angeles Olympics. But in Japan's World Cup Marathon in April, he ran with the leaders until the last 100 meters and then won easily, missing the then world best by 4 seconds. Until 1977, Djibouti was called French Somaliland. This neighbor of Ethiopia is a strategically located port on the Gulf of Aden. It is one of the smallest and poorest nations in the world. 180,000 of its 350,000 people live in the port city of Djibouti, sometimes called the Valley of Hell. Temperatures range from 85 to 107 degrees. There is no industry in Djibouti. There are no running tracks. So it is not surprising that the runners of Djibouti were not successful until they moved to France to train in Paris under better conditions. The Djiboutian team won the championships in Japan in April, and last week 3 of them were in Chicago. One of them, Roble Jama, finished second to Steve Jones. Saleh is the best of the group of Djibouti runners, who, while shocked by the ways of the non-Muslim nations they visited, realized they must seek better conditions.
For medical support and climatic reasons, it is better to train here in France than in Djibouti, and also because the equipment here is very important.
Saleh is a captain in the military when at home, as are most of the Djibouti runners. All have extended families. Saleh claims to support 27 family members with the winnings from his running.
I love to run. I also love my family. I have to divide my time between training and my family. I'm often here training in Paris, which forces me to stay away from my family.
Saleh has said he will win in New York, and he has said he will set a record. But he will not say how he will do it.
This is a secret matter for me, but nevertheless I'm counting on winning the New York Marathon as I won the Hiroshima Marathon.
Are you the most famous person in Djibouti? Saleh is asked. Bien sir, he answers. Of course, he is also likely one of the wealthiest in a rapidly growing country of 450,000 people, where the annual per capita income is less than $500. His successes, which also include 2 victories in the Paris Marathon and 3 victories in the World Military Cross-Country Championships, earned Saleh a promotion from enlisted man to lieutenant, with a commensurately higher salary. Saleh owns 4 Japanese cars, including a Toyota Land Cruiser, and 2 5-room dwellings. Saleh, the father of 2 young children, no longer, also has to support an extended family of nearly 30. Thanks to him, most of them have found jobs. Thanks to the French government, the runners have a better place to train than the hot and barren landscape of Djibouti, where there is no synthetic running track and where Saleh must run at dawn and dusk. 2 months before every competition, the Djiboutian runners repair to Fontainebleau, France, where they live at a French military school and train in the forest near the immense 16th-century chateau built by King Francis I. The French connection to the Djiboutian runners, especially Saleh, is otherwise partly severed. He did not like the last coach, Jackie Fournier, whom the French assigned to work with the Africans. Fournier, who accompanied the runners to the US last fall, is notably absent this year. The emotional Saleh is likely uncoachable anyway, as even Federation President Omar Churton admits. Saleh ran with the leaders at the Los Angeles Olympics for 21 miles, then fell back so fast that he finished 20th, 6 minutes behind the winner. His completely uncontrolled race in last year's New York Marathon earned him second place, $22,000, and the sobriquet Mad Djiboutian in New York. Saleh broke away from the field at the halfway point, when he had a nearly 2-minute lead on eventual winner Orlando Pizzolato of Italy, and was apparently chasing only Carlos Lopes' world best time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 12 seconds. Instead, Saleh ran into trouble during the 16th mile, and he slowed inexorably the rest of the way. Pizzolato took the lead before the 24-mile mark and won by 55 seconds. Saleh attributes his downfall to a combination of physical problems and culture shock. Sore thighs and tendinitis pained him during the race, and he had never felt comfortable in New York. I was frightened by New York, he says. The big buildings, everything so gigantic. I felt overwhelmed. I learned a lesson in New York, but I will not tell you what it is. It is my secret other than his stated quest to win and eclipse Lopez as the fastest marathoner in history. Saleh is secretive about his race plans for America's Marathon Chicago, in which Djiboutian Youssouf Dankel also will compete. I am in very good shape, Saleh says. That assessment is borne out by a world best time of 57 minutes 37 seconds in an allegedly 20-kilometer race. The course is presumed to have been short, 2 weeks ago in Paris. Only chance prevented Saleh from running here a year ago. The Djiboutians brought 6 runners for their US debut, and chose at random which 3 would run in Chicago, and which 3 in New York. Roble Jama was second here to Steve Jones in a time, 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 8 seconds, that lowered by 1 second the African record Saleh had established earlier in the year at the World Cup. Wounded pride over having lost the record may account in no small part for Saleh's madcap run the following week in New York. He would undoubtedly be delighted simply to regain that record in America's Marathon. Beyond that, his schedule includes the World Cup Marathon next April in Seoul, South Korea, a trial run on the course for the 1988 Olympics, and the World Championships Marathon next August in Rome. Saleh, who is used to training in temperatures near 100 degrees, is one of the few looking forward to running in the Rome heat. Even if the prize will be only a medal, most of the world's top marathoners will undoubtedly skip the World Championships race for reasons both meteorological and financial, since they can make far more money running elsewhere. The reward of being called world champion would be of incalculable value to a runner from Djibouti, where fortune may not be worth as much as fame.